He just disconnected this. It was working here a minute ago. How about now?
There's a bit of delay. One second.
I think I can see you now. Well, I mean, I'm on now, but just so that, yeah, so let's just see if we can get this. Man, you disconnected this. Huh? Yeah, but
Cameras.
what about audio? My audio is working. For some reason, this camera thing is not working. So let me just off and turn it on. Let's see if this will work. How about now? Okay, for some reason, this. It was working just now. Okay, all right, we'll just do it this way. All right, hey guys, let me grab a chair. We'll get started. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a technology problem. Anyways, today we're talking about buying your first 6-unit property, and we have Jesse that's going to join us here in a few minutes. At least we're hoping he'll be able to join us, and we're talking about it because he just bought his first property. So you still can't get me on there, right? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry?
I want to revisit every connection, see if this is in.
Yeah, just see. Okay, doesn't seem like it's going to work. It's just going to be as good as it's going to get for today. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about buying your first multi-unit property. So something to think about is that as we go into the new year, right, interest rates are up. And as interest rates go up, what happens is that you really have to start thinking about buying better and better quality deals, right? And this particular property that Jesse just bought seems to be working now, or doesn't. I don't know. As long as you guys can see me, that's all that matters. You can see me
You have your webcam.
off my webcam,
Yeah.
not off that thing.
No, not yet.
Okay, all right. And kind of go from there. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't joined Burr Cash Flow Investors, the Facebook group, make sure you join. If you have any friends, make sure you invite them, because we have the giveaway that's going to happen in about a month or so. And that giveaway this time is going to be win a cruise for two. So it's going to be a fun prize. So you and your spouse or significant other, girlfriend, etc., whichever way, you'll get to go on a cruise on our dime. So having said that, make sure you join. And if you invite a friend, if you invite somebody, then you get 2 chances, 3 chances, however many chances you get to win. Having said that, we will, let's just not screw with it, because even the audio is going to go here. Well, whatever you did, now it's working.
There you go. I just switched the USB, so it's this. So this USB was not working, so I just plugged it in a second.
Okay. All right. So hopefully it should make our life a little bit easier. You got that working?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So let's go to the board. Let me show you guys really quick, kind of the, let me share my screen first. Now, in all this mess, I forgot how do I share my screen. Here we go. And this and share. Okay. So if you guys can see my screen, you can see my screen? Okay. So if you guys see my screen, this is the 6 flat that Jesse just bought, right? And so this is kind of the 6 flat that we're going to talk about today. So this particular 6 flat happens to be a property that is in, it's in Cicero. And as a part of kind of buying this particular property, here's what he has to look at in today's market, right? What he has to think about is that this particular property, is it going to make sense, right? So here's the situation. Jesse already owns, I think, 15 or maybe 15 or 18 properties before he bought this one. Now this puts him at 20 something properties. So hopefully he'll be able to join us, and I'll kind of have him cover that here in a few minutes. But what we have to think about is if he's going to buy a 6-unit property, right now we're dealing with somewhere around 7.5 to 8.2% interest rates. So the biggest problem today is going to be is that with this interest rate, can he still make this property cash flow? Will the property still make sense, right? So that's basically what he's going to have to contend with given the situation that we're in. So first, we're going to figure out kind of backwards, cash flow wise, what would a property like this support and what would make sense? So let me read you his text in terms of what is this particular property. So this is a 6-unit property. The rehab, he says, according to him, is going to be $125,000. And it's 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. So first of all, what we have to think about is for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit in Cicero, reasonably, what is the rent going to be, right? And then we'll work it backwards to see if he paid the price that he paid, is that a fair price or is that not a fair price? So first of all, the rents are going to be somewhere around $1,250 to $1,350, according to his numbers. So we're going to be on the conservative side. So let's just go with about, let's say $1,250, right? $1,250 is very reasonable. I think he will get that all day long, if not more, but we'll just base it on $1,250. So $1,250 times 6, that's $7,500 in income, right? And if you follow kind of the mastery standards, what we always try to do is this, that if you have a single family property, we want to make 500 cash flow. If you have a, sorry, oh, Jesse's on. Yo, Jesse, are you on? Hello, hello. I turned it on. Okay. So I'll wait for him. Otherwise, just tell him that I'll call him on the phone because I'm trying to see if I can get it.
His computer, his camera's not, no audio.
No, he may be on the phone or something. So his camera may not be on, but that's fine. Let me just go through this. In the meantime, we'll figure that out. Okay, so $7,500. So on a single family, we're looking for $500 cash flow. On a multi-family property, what should a reasonable cash flow be? So to me, if you can get $350 to $400 minimum in terms of cash flow. So ideally, what kind of cash flow do we want to see, right? Now, remember, we're working our numbers backwards in this case. So let's say we want to see $400 cash flow per door times 6 doors. So that would be $2,400, right? That's the best scenario possible. So let's see what it leaves me with. So I'm going to take this number, total collected rent, minus the cash flow that I want, and it's going to give me how much money can I pay towards PITI. We're kind of doing it backwards. So hopefully you follow my process here. That what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, this is our ideal number of cash flow, and we're going to work backwards towards what should we be paying for the property. So this is an interesting way of doing it, but this hopefully will make sense to everybody because that's what you have to think about in today's market, right? So $7,500 minus $2,400. So that leaves me with $5,100 in terms of what I can pay towards taxes, principal, interest, insurance, and towards any sort of heating expense and all that kind of stuff. So now he's going to additionally have some income from laundry income, but we're not going to consider that. That I'm just going to put aside. Actually, that is going to be a chunk of change. In that area, it's a lot of Hispanic people. Hispanic people love doing laundry. I've said this all the time, that if you have any ethnic group, except Hispanic people, they don't do as much laundry. Hispanic people love doing laundry for some reason. And I say that in jest, but it's actually true. If you look at all the multifamilies that we own, if it's a Hispanic families living in the you always have more laundry income for some reason. But let's put that aside. So let's look at what his number would be in this case. So I'm going to calculate kind of backwards, and I'm going to put all the expenses first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put $5,100 plus I'm going to put the taxes on the thing, and then we'll go backwards. So let me ask him, let me see if I can get a hold of him, and I'll get him on my phone because I think that may be easier. So, and let's see, hopefully you guys can hear him. So Jesse. Oh, there we go. So while I'm calling him, let me open the calculator.
Yeah, hey. Hello.
Yo, man. Okay, so I got you on the speaker here.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hold
Okay.
on, give me one moment. I'm getting in my car. 1 second.
Dude, could you be any more distracted? Okay, so let's kind of put the insurance number in. On a property like this, generally the insurance should be somewhere around 20, about, like, everything said and done, about somewhere around $2,000 for the long term. So I'm going to put that number in. And the calculator that I'm using, it's called Carl's Mortgage Calculator. Again, that's called Carl's Mortgage Calculator. So I'm going to work these numbers backwards in this case. And this kind of lets you do that. So it's a really cool calculator. If you don't have it, download it to your iPhone or your Android device. Jesse, are you there? Jesse.
Yes, I'm here, night guys. Sorry about that.
Okay,
All
you're
right,
the
I'm
most
free. I'm
distracted
all
person.
yours.
Okay, all right. So give me the taxes on this property. What are the taxes?
13,800.
13,800. Okay, and your insurance, once you're in it for the long term, what is your insurance going to be?
For the long term, I think I can lower it. I have it right now at 2,800.
But that's because it's under construction. But you think a 2,000 is a fair number to use?
I probably can get it down to about maybe 20, between 22, 24.
Okay, so I'm going to use about a 2,200 number. I think you can get it down further, but let's just go with 2,200. Okay, so guys, what I did was I'm basically going to reverse calculate the number, that if my taxes are 13,800, if my annual insurance is 2,200, my interest rate, I'm taking it at 8%, 30-year. Then if I want my, so I'm going to go kind of backwards here. I want my payments to be, so, hey, Joe, you have a calculator?
Yep.
So do this math for me. Take 5,100.
5,100.
Subtract 2,200 divided by 12. Subtract $183 out of it.
Divided by 12. Subtract $83 out of it.
Yeah.
158.66.
Huh?
Yeah.
Man, what kind of math are you doing?
You said divided by 12.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, take 5,100.
All right.
Okay, subtract, what was the number I gave you? 2,200 divided by 12 is going to be, just subtract $125 out of it.
5,500.
Because, yes, 2,200 divided 12. Okay, no. Okay, so take 5,100, subtract $183 out of it.
Subtract
Yeah.
$183.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What is the number? 5,100
Yeah.
minus $183. Okay, I'll give you.
4,917.
Okay. Then subtract another $1,150 out of it.
3,767.
Okay, $3,767. Okay, so guys, how did I come up with this number? What I did was this. I took $5,100. I subtracted my monthly insurance. I subtracted my monthly taxes, right? So this is the amount of money that technically, if we want to end up with this number, this is the amount of money that we would be left with in terms of payment, meaning principal, and in terms of interest. Now, there is one more expense here I have not subtracted yet that I'm going to subtract next, and that's going to be about another $500. I'm going to make it $600. So that's going to be my heat. That's going to be my garbage, some other janitorial expenses, whatever, maybe. So basically, if I subtract another $600 or so, right, even make it $650, whatever. So what's going to happen is I'm down to $3,100 to $3,150, right? That's what I'm down to. So now I'm going to reverse calculate it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this number for payment, $3,100. I'm basically doing reverse, right? $3,100 in my calculator, and it's going to give me the number that I need, that I could pay for the property and still make money on this property. So for this particular property, what it does is if you reverse calculate that, what it gives me is $422,000. Think about it, $422,000. I could actually pay for purchase plus rehab on this particular property and still end up with a $2,400 profit. So what we're doing in this property is this. A lot of times what happens is you go see a seller and the seller says, well, I don't know, make an offer, right? Now, obviously you want to buy the property as low as humanly possible. But what you have to be able to come up with is what is your maximum, right, offer price going to be? What is the maximum offer you're going to pay for that particular property? Then do the rehab still and still end up with the cash flow you want to end up. Now, here's the question, right? We said 422, but let's find out from Jesse, what did he actually pay for the property? Now, mind you, there's one more condition we have to hit, right? And that is this, that based on the retail value, right? So in Mastery, you've probably heard me say, we want to hit three things. Number one, we need cash flow. We figured that out. Number two, we need equity in the property. Meaning, if you want to do what the Facebook group stands for, which is BRRRR, which is buy the property, rehab the property, rent the property, refinance the property, and repeat the process again. Meaning, Jesse will want to do this with zero out of his own pocket, right? Because otherwise, how is he going to keep buying these properties? How is he going to keep scaling up? So to be able to do that, after the rehab, he's going to need equity on that property, right? That's going to be really important. Minimum of 25% equity he's going to need in that particular case. So we'll see if he's going to have that here in a minute. And then he's going to need DCR, meaning 1.33. That's his debt coverage ratio. Or for some of you guys that are more advanced, he's going to need a DSCR number, which is going to be slightly different than this, but this is pretty close. So Jesse, what did you pay for this particular property?
$290,000.
So he paid $290,000. Remember, what did I say? His max number could be up to $422K, right? That was what the max number I came up with without even knowing what his number could be. And we did that calculation together. We reverse calculated what his number should be based on our ideal cash flow. So now let's look at what is your number as far as rehab number on this.
That's gonna be coming out to between 100 to 125,000.
So 100 to 125. So let's just use 125. So if I take this is 5 This is 1,415, right? See how we calculated that? And I didn't have to know. So he paid the right amount based on our cash flow. We know that based on this number, all in cost, purchase plus rehab, he's going to hit his number in terms of cash flow, because I was pretty generous in terms of the different costs that I allocated. This is based on an 8% interest and a 30-year amortization. Now, could he do something else? Could he buy this property with a balloon payment, 5-year balloon, 7-year balloon, and he can probably get the 8% down, so his cash flow is going to be even more, right, than what we said. But this is something that can be done all day long. Now, the third piece of it is going to be, we said 3 things. One is cash flow. We know he's going to have a minimum cash flow, minimum from one property of this. Actually, I think his cash flow is going to be closer to 2,800, but we'll just kind of put that aside. So we are hitting for 3 things. We know this number works. Now we know we need to check for this one, and we know this number will work, because if his cash flow is working, his DCR number is going to work, right? So Jesse, my question is this: in terms of back-end value on a 6-unit property, right? How did you calculate your back-end value on a 6-unit property?
Well, I did do some comps in the area.
Okay.
To the level I actually want to get this property to. I estimated that it could come in between 6 to 650.
Okay, so very conservatively, to me, the property, based on the comps over there, should come in at about 108 minimum, right? But even if we did it at, say, because are you going to do a 70% or a 80% cash out?
I'm trying to aim for about 75.
75%. So 75%. So basically, let's just say, look at 600,000, which I think he'll get that value all day long. Back end value after rehab times 0.75. That gives us $450,000, right? 450. So even if he has a little bit of, obviously, because at the time of rehabbing the property, he's going to have to pay some interest for 6 months, 8 months. How long do you anticipate your rehab to be?
We should get this done in about, figuring around roughly 6 to 8 months. And that's only because we do have some existing tenants in there.
Okay.
We're going to be working either to offer them to stay while we do rehab or have them exit.
Okay, got it. So 6 to 8 months. So even if he has some payments, he's going to have to make some payments for that time. Fortunately, he does have tenants. In one way, it's good because it's not like the income is zero from the property, right away. So what was your cash flow number that you came up with, given your numbers?
Well, we have, let's see, I have the property at about 13 to 1350 per unit. I'm in my car right now. Memory serves me fresh. I'm thinking about 2,700.
Okay, so I'm coming up with about a $2,400 to $2,700 cash flow at about $1,250 a unit, right? So you're certainly within the ballpark in terms of what the numbers are. Now, so let's talk about this. So you did not go with the Mastery loan for this one on the front end. You got a commercial loan on this one, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So this was, you said you did a post in Mastery today saying that now you're up to, with this property included, with the 6-unit, how many doors are you up to?
I would be 20 doors
20
yesterday with this one.
Okay, so you'd be up to 20 doors with this one, and you have a couple multi-units, and you have rest of them are single families, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so a couple of years, 2 years ago or so, we would have said no to this particular property, correct?
Just like you did on the 3-unit.
On the 3-unit, okay. But so today, why do you feel qualified that you could buy this property?
Experience.
Okay.
Right now I have it. I've been doing many rehabs and have several rentals under my belt. So now I have the know-how.
Right.
and the confidence in that.
Okay. So you had a little bit of a challenge with funding on this one. Obviously, market has changed, right? And this would not have made sense for funding on a private money loan from Mastery, right? This made more sense to go to a commercial lender to get funding on this. What was the challenge with some of the commercial lenders in today's market? What was the first challenge that you were having with that?
Well, because of the market changes, obviously, a lot of lenders and hedge funds were pulling back on loaning out to inexperienced investors. And what I mean inexperienced is people who have never owned a 5+ unit building, which I don't. I have a maximum of a 4-unit experience in that. But because of that, they also do verifications and so on. So there was no way around that. Apparently, that rule just changed a few months ago. So that was a big challenge I was coming across. The experience, the criteria, the credibility I have, but it's just a matter of having the 5+ unit record under my belt, which I didn't have.
Okay. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, guys, because as you try to grow, your challenges are going to change, right? Because his initial challenge was, oh my God, I can't find a property, right? He comes to Mastery, year and a half, 0 properties, right? So this is not a one-hit wonder, like suddenly comes in, boom, becomes successful. Then fortunately, his son shows up in Mastery with Jesse, and now Jesse gets all pumped up, right? That, hey, we're going to do it together. So with your son, Damien, and he gets all fired up, right? And then the rest is history. And literally his first 8 or 10 properties I turned down. I'm like, this doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense, doesn't make sense. And he didn't give up, fortunately, right? And stubbornness is a good thing because all those properties were complete duds, right? But he just kept at it, and he literally started bumbling into good properties because suddenly he started realizing this ones do make sense. So the actual loan that you got, what type of a loan did you get? It was a commercial loan, of course, but how much down payment did you have to have?
This was an 80% loan to value loan, so I had to put down 20.
You had to put down 20%. 20% of purchase and 20% of rehab, or 20% of purchase?
All the above.
All the above. So suddenly, where have you come up with the money from? Because, I mean, if we roll the clock back 2.5, 3 years, you did not have the cash.
No.
Okay.
It all came from real estate. From rehabbing and refinancing. No, mainly rehabbing and flipping my latest properties.
Okay, got it. And how many flips have you done?
About 6 or 7.
6. So 6 or 7 besides all the properties that you've bought and kept for rentals in the last 3 years or so.
That's correct.
Okay, got it. So basically what he's doing is he's using the flipping as a strategy to build some cash reserves, plus he's accumulating a bunch of rentals. So that cash flow comes in also on top of that, right? So he's using both of those strategies and gradually just scaling up as these properties make sense. Now, let me ask you this. Now that you're doing multis, right? Are you only looking at multis, or are you still willing to do regular cash flow properties?
Still willing to do regular cash flow properties. To me, it's strictly all about the numbers. As long as it cash flows and puts me in a good conservative DSCR, I'm taking the deal all day long. It's not about whether I have a passion over single family versus multi-unit. I have no habit whatsoever. The habit for me now has become cash flow.
Okay, so it's purely about cash flow.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right. That makes sense all day long. And in terms of, so on the front end, you came up with 20% down. And so nobody was willing to do this with 10% down?
No.
Okay. And what was the reason behind it? Because it was not a 4-unit, you could have done that with maybe 10 or 15% down. But because this was a 5-unit building, that's why you had to come up with 20%?
That's correct. The 4-unit, I could have done with 10% down all day long.
Okay.
Now, just because it jumps over to that extra unit, making it a 5+, they require 20.
Okay, got it. So hopefully this makes sense to everybody that is watching. So what I did was I started with what was the back end, meaning how much money, total rent collected, right? We subtracted how much money do I want to make, right? What I was trying to get to was, so we did it a little bit backwards, and it's important to understand. I took total rent collected, I subtracted, hey, minimum, Jesse needs to make about $2,400. That's minimum. So we subtracted that. Now that gave us at $5,100, what is that? Well, that's the amount of money he could put towards PITI and any other related costs. That's monthly, right? Then we went ahead and we came up with a number, basically that minus insurance cost a month, minus taxes a month, minus your garbage, any common area maintenance, and I've been pretty generous here, right, on that number. So he'll probably not spend that much, but we're just kind of putting it out there. That gave us a total of $3,100. What is that number? Well, $3,100 can go towards his principal and interest costs and still hit the numbers. That basically gave us, when I reverse calculated that with Carl's mortgage calculator, what that gave me $422,000 was the number that it gave me, which is, this is the max that he could pay. He ended up, this is a max that he would pay, purchase plus rehab. So he ended up buying the property for $290,000, and he's going to do $125,000 in rehab. That puts us at $415,000. So his numbers work exactly the way they should. And one more step in this was that if the back end value is somewhere around $600,000, I think he's going to get more than that. And 75% of this number, so 600,000 times 0.75 is going to give you $450K, right? That's the amount of money he's going to be able to refinance out of this property. If the value is higher, he'll be able to refinance a little bit higher. And he'll be able to hit all the numbers that we're talking about. So anything you want to add, Jesse?
You're right about the value most likely coming in higher, because the comps I was using, although they were at a high comp sold amount, the revenue, the generating rental income on those other comps were not as close to what my rental generating numbers will be on this one, which of course will have an impact on the value itself. So correct. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. It should come out higher.
See, because for a property which is more than a 4-unit property, right? Generally, the bigger the property, most people buy these properties based on cap rates, right? Right. Most people are not buying the property this conservatively. Right? And this property, I mean, if he wanted to sell it, and if it's marketed well, based on the income approach, the value of this property is way, way, way higher, right? It's way higher. Now, it's not a, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 unit. So it's hard to sell this property just based on the cap rate. But this property is an incredibly profitable property. Not only that it's going to be in mint condition by the time they're done with it, and that the property will have tons of equity, and also there'll be zero in the particular deal. So congratulations, man, to you and your son. I just thought that for today's live, this would be a great example to talk about, and what a fun project to go into 2023 with, right?
Definitely, it is, and definitely appreciate and owe it all to the mentorship of Mastery, and of course, the beginning dream could not have started without this. So, thanks, much appreciated. Thank
right.
you.
Once you get a couple of these units vacant, let us know. We'll do one of the Mastery tours. That'll be fun to do.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Yep. All right, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, bud.
All right, thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right. So guys, having said that, hopefully this example made sense. Some of these numbers made sense. If they didn't, go back, rewatch that. I wanted to have Jesse on with his face showing, but he was at the property basically working on a bunch of things, so we couldn't. But having said that, Happy New Year to everybody. I think tomorrow's New Year? Tomorrow's New Year or no?
I don't think so. Let me see.
No, when is New Year's? No, man, tomorrow is the New Year. Yeah, today is 30th. So,
But is tonight New Year's Eve?
no, tomorrow's New Year's.
New Year's.
Tomorrow's whatever New Year, whatever, man. Okay. So Happy New Year to everybody. And hopefully you have a safe, New Year. And we will see you in the next year. And remember, before you leave, make sure you join Burr Cashflow Investors if you're not a member. Oh, and most importantly, right, the 3-day is coming up end of February, which is 24th. And guess when the early bird special ends? The early bird special ends tomorrow evening, right? So before you start being merry and before you start drinking and opening that bottle of champagne, make sure you join for coming up 3-day so that you don't miss out on the early bird special. Again, guys, have a safe New Year, and we will talk to you on Monday at 5:30, same time and same place. Talk to you soon.